There's things that you can keep. Identify those qualities that you can keep. That will give you a sense of, I'm moving in the right direction. I do have some of what I need to become this person. And it's not a complete gut job like I explained earlier. It's buildable. And in this in-between, I'm going to keep building on the things that I've identified that I need, that I don't have. But I'm also going to appreciate the things that I do already have, the things that I get to keep. Those things are important. When you are growing and building and trying to improve, at that start of it, there's going to be some unfamiliarity. There's going to be some doubt. There's going to be uncertainties, so that you don't completely feel lost. There's nothing that reminds you that you're working on something. Yes, you may feel like you've lost yourself, but here's an anchor to remind you. Here's something that you enjoy, and it's still there, and it does align with who you're trying to be, and it can remain through the whole journey. Hey there, welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time. As you know, on this channel, we talk about how in life, it's not only me and it's not only you, but life's ups and downs are universal. So today, as we continue on in our Gentle Reset series, I would like to dive into gentle resetting when you just don't feel like yourself anymore. So let's talk about that strange and uncomfortable space that we sometimes find ourselves in when we are no longer who we were and not quite yet who we are striving to become. We can dive into that space where is a very critical space, because we can sometimes quit. We can quit trying to become who we are desiring to be, and we can instead revert or regress and just go back to who we were, even though we might not have been the happiest there, and even though we might not be reaching our full potential in that spot. But that is just the space that we no longer desire to be in, but we don't quite know how to navigate the uncomfortability of not yet being who we desire to be. Sometimes we reach a level of comfort in working past our old challenges and then now being content. You can equate it to, let's say when you were first learning addition, I'm sure it was difficult, but then you got to a point where you were able to do division, right? And then you had to start over. Similarly, when you are top of class in elementary school, and then guess where you go? To the bottom, right? When you get to middle school, and then the same as you progress and go on into high school and college and career. There's always a point where you can choose to remain or stay, or you can grow and advance. But you say, maybe for that schooling example, the summertime, right? That would be the in-between time. It's like you've mastered something, you're done with something, right? But there's a new hard that you're approaching, and you could very well just say, you know what? I just want to stay. I want to go back because the summer's fun. But for this example, let's say the summer's uncomfortable, and I'm not a such and such anymore. Or I'm not a elementary schooler anymore, but I'm not quite a middle schooler yet either. And these being where you were, right? What you mastered, what you were good at, you had your comfort level there. And then going in this example, middle school, right? There's an anxiety because you don't know what to expect. You're like, I'm going to be at the bottom. There's going to be people older than me, people that got the hang of it. I'm going to look like a rookie. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where my class is. I don't know the building. Whatever it is, you can equate that to your life experience, right? You maybe have gotten to a point where you're comfortable in something, but it's not what you want. You're comfortable in it, right? And there's more. But in striving to get to the more, you don't know exactly, what you need to be working on. You don't know if you're able to do the things that you need to be working on. You don't know how people around you will view you. You don't know if it'll really work out. Maybe you're building a plan and you're crossing your fingers and you're praying and you're just hoping that this will turn into what I be. Maybe you got a mentor. Maybe they're telling you, hey, you need to do this. Maybe what they're telling you to do is hard. Maybe you're training physically and your fitness coach or your fitness plan from ChatGPT or your workout regimen that you copied from somebody's YouTube video. Maybe those things you're unsure if you can do it. Maybe people have done it, but you don't know if you can do it. And you're in that in-between where I think it's called the terror barrier. So you're at the terror barrier where you could just go back, right? Going back and like, hey, you know what? I think I want to repeat 5th grade. Y'all want to stay there. I felt like I was running the show. I enjoyed it. It was easier. I kind of got a hang of everything I had to do, because the alternative is pushing through the uncomfortable time, pushing through the unknown, the uncertainty, the fear. There's also an excitement, but then you don't want to let yourself down, so why try? Finding a way to navigate that in-between space is when you could not feel like yourself anymore. And I want to dive into how to support you, because if it is that you're heading towards something that you really don't desire, that's fine. Let's explore that. But if you're heading towards something and it's just a little harder than you thought, or it's a little more unclear, you're a little more fearful about it, then let's dive into that too. Because on the other side of not feeling like yourself right now, it could be what you truly want. And I believe it's worth it. So let's explore it. I want you to identify yourself as in the process at this point. If this is not where you're at, then don't worry about it. But if you are in that point when you feel like you have lost yourself, identify yourself as in the process. And that can give you some clarity, some reassurance that yes, I'm feeling how I'm feeling, but the reason why is because I'm in a process of elevating from where I once was to where I'm trying to be. And the in-between can be uncomfortable. It's kind of like you're stretching yourself and it feels uncomfortable. Growing pains, right? You're feeling that, and you must understand that that is part of the process. Because if you don't understand that that's part of the process, then you will be extremely uncomfortable and you will want to regress. You will not want to continue on. You will regress. And knowing these signs, these symptoms will help you go forward in this growth journey that you're on. But being honest, and we're doing this in the Reset series, being honest and knowing that I am in a process and my goal is to improve. I don't like how this feels right now. I don't like how I feel right now, but I'm going to keep going because I understand that this is part of the process. And you can get further clarity by practically just asking yourself, what used to make me feel like me that no longer does? Because that will help you see, where have I changed and I didn't acknowledge the change and is now making me think that I am, something's wrong, right? Consider this as a cleaning out project. Not getting rid of everything, but also knowing that everything can't stay. And space has to be made. You could picture this as like a decluttering project, right? Space has to be made for the new you. This is not a complete gut job, but it's also not just a tidying up project. You have to make space for the new you, and you also have to take your time. You don't need to rush to define the you that you're desiring to become. If anything, it would be best for you to think it through. Give yourself some grace. The haste and the urgency can cause you to, similarly to baking or cooking, right? Things have to take an allotted amount of time, and you cannot change the duration of time that it takes for a 7-up pound cake to bake. You can't change the time that it takes for the turkey, so to speak, to roast, right? You can't change that. That's a process. Just like I mentioned before, you're in a process and you can't change that process. You just have to acknowledge that you're in the process and go through it with knowledge. Don't go through it haphazardly. Don't go through the process as if it's just something that's happening to you but go through it intentionally and intellectually and with purpose. Go through it with purpose. That will definitely help you drive your actions. That will help you get more out of the process of you becoming who you desire to be, despite the experiences that you may have had that are not desirable. But I want you to really make room for this in-between space, because a lot of who you're going to become is defined right now in this in-between space. I was going to say phase, but space. So a practical way that you can make room for the in-between, and talked about the clearing out and the decluttering, identify 3 pieces of you, 3 qualities of you that you are looking forward to continuing, that you would like to remain. And these aren't things that we misconstrue for identity. So I don't want you to talk about or identify a role or a job, what you're called to someone else. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a sister. These are independent qualities within you. So let's say maybe you are funny, maybe you are brave, maybe you're curious. Note these qualities, whether you're writing them down in your journal, you're doing a voice note, however you're going to capture these qualities, document them. And note that these are your keep. Similar to decluttering, right? We have the donate, toss, trash, discard, throw away. And then we have the keep. These are, as you're going through, right, within yourself, looking at your circumstances, looking at who you're trying to become, there are parts of you that you might want to donate. I don't know how to correlate the donate for qualities. We're just going to go with, right? So with toss and keep, because that makes the most sense. Toss, maybe your desire to always be right. Maybe toss your initial instinct to say, I can't do that. The doubt, toss the doubt. But do you like the fact that your curiosity, could that fit into who you're desiring to become? Could your braveness, right? Could that fit into who you're trying to become? So let's keep the things that fit with who we are trying to become, and let's toss those things that don't align. But when we are in between, it's good to identify the parts of me, the parts of you that can stick around, that should stick around, that are necessary, that are beneficial, that are helpful. Identifying those pieces will help you get a better sense of self now, as well as self in the future. Who do you want to be? What does this person do that you currently do? And what do you do that this person does not do? Identifying all of those different areas will help you get a better sense of self in the present and a better sense of self in the future, which can also act as a guide, and it can also give you direction. If you have unhealthy eating habits, but you desire to become someone that is physically fit, that is well energized, that has amazing mobility, right? There might be things that you're doing right now that perfectly align with that person. Maybe you currently hydrate a lot. Maybe you have a wonderful sleep schedule. But let's say right now, absolutely no stretching. You stretch not at all. Not a lick of stretching is taking place in your present self. So that's something that we need to add in, right? Maybe you drink a bunch of alcohol, right? Does drinking a bunch of alcohol align with that you desire to become? No, that's something you need to toss, right? So there's things that we need to add, there's things that we need to toss, and then there's things that we can keep, right? Like I talked about, you might do the perfect hydration, you might get great sleep. There's things that you can keep. Identify those qualities that you can keep. That will give you a sense of, I'm moving in the right direction. I do have some of what I need to become this person. And it's not a complete gut job like I explained earlier. It's buildable. And in this in-between, I'm going to keep building on the things that I've identified that I need, that I don't have. But I'm also going to appreciate the things that I do already have, the things that I get to keep. Those things are important. I found that when I reconnected with the things that were true and real for me right now, that helped me in my in-between phase. And when you are growing and building and trying to improve, at that start of it, there's going to be some unfamiliarity. There's going to be some doubt. There's going to be uncertainty. But what's important is identifying your anchor things, your anchor pieces, the things that can help ground you as you almost try to change your reality. As you try to change your reality, you need some things that can help anchor you, can help ground you, so that it doesn't feel like everything is just sinking sand. Everything is pie in the sky, unfamiliar, unreal, very difficult. And I'll give you an example too. With some of your anchor things, maybe you do have a wonderful morning routine, or you have a morning routine that aligns with who you're trying to become. That can be something that's grounding, right? It's a constant. Maybe you have a pet, right? You interacting with your pet, that's in your world where everything's changing, that's a constant. Maybe you're a lavender and a lemon, or whatever your scent is that can be a constant, right? You love apple spice, right? So maybe that's something that is a constant for you as you're going through your changes. Little things, whatever helps your home feel like home, even if you are making some major changes, little things that can ground you, not in a negative way, but ground you in terms of there's some semblance of normalcy for me. In my world where everything's changing, I've got some anchors. I have some things that help me with this transformation. They help me with this transition. And I want you to identify what are those things for you that can help keep you grounded as you grow. Not in a negative way, not keep you grounded, hold you back, but just keep you grounded and anchor you as your reality changes, so that you don't completely feel lost. There's nothing that reminds you that you're working on something. Yes, you may feel like you've lost yourself, but here's an anchor to remind you. Here's something that you enjoy, and it's still there, and it does align with who you're trying to be, and it can remain through the whole journey. So I just encourage you to identify those things in your life when everything's feeling unfamiliar. And what's real is hard to identify as you're going through and you're improving yourself. All right, so as we wrap up this video, I do want to say that we've gotten to where we've gotten to in life with a level of resilience, right? But there are things that we have instilled in us that were for survival. And those things played a role in our lives. However, they don't define us now, right? Even if you think about it, right? Just in a simple way to think about, if you were for some reason in a situation where normal food is not readily available, but you do have those, I forgot what they're called, but basically the dried food supplies, right? Where it's like the food for survival, right? As you're trying to go forward and grow, the food for survival is not going to sustain you properly over time. That survival food serves one purpose, and that is to keep you alive. That survival food is not going to help you hit your protein goal. That survival food is not going to give you all the nourishment that you need to be a healthy individual. That survival food has one job. And similarly, you maybe I developed traits, I developed qualities that were for my survival at a point, right? And now that I'm trying to advance, some of those things, they're not going to help me. But I can't diminish the role that they played in keeping me safe at a point in my life. Now, do I need to keep operating in that space where I need these roles to keep me safe and things like that? No, I absolutely do not need to keep operating in a space where I need these things to keep me safe. However, those things that I had that kept me safe, they served a role. They helped me at a point, but it's time for me to let them go. It's time for me to let those things go. I don't need them anymore. I'm working on developing new qualities, developing new ways of going through my life where those qualities are not going to help me be as well-rounded. They helped me at a point when I needed them to survive. But if I'm progressing and if I'm looking to no longer survive but thrive, those qualities don't serve me well right now. I can thank them for the job that they did at a time, but I can also put myself before holding on to those qualities. And I can say that, honestly, that's not going to help me with who I'm trying to become. So I need to let that go. And I have to be honest with myself. In this leveling up, there's a letting go as well that I have to do. And I have to be honest about that. But the key piece is the awareness. Am I aware enough to know that I have survival instincts that are not helping me, but they did help me at one time? And can I be honest enough to say, I don't need you. I don't need that. But I appreciate what that did for me at a point in my life, but I don't need that right now. So I would like to challenge you this week, today, tomorrow, this week. Be mindful of how is my old self, or how is the self that you are looking to release or leave, how is that self showing up in a conversation, in a moment? How is your old self showing up? And when you identify that self that does not align with who you're trying to become, when that self shows up, what you can do as a healing exercise is you can recognize it, not judge it, and simply thank it, and then let it go. But when you thank it, you're thanking that attribute or that personality for trying to protect you, for trying to help you survive, and let it go. This will help your awareness, and you will begin to see the old you, and you will advance a little bit more completely, more well-rounded into the you that you're trying to become. And I believe that you can do it. You just have to be intentional. This exercise will help improve your awareness and identify the you that you were, and move more towards the you that you're trying to become. So I hope you enjoyed today's video as we continue on in our Gentle Reset series. This video, I believe it's going to help you. It's helping me. It has helped me. And there's work to do, but we don't have to do it all at one time. And that's the whole premise with the Gentle Reset series. I don't like being overwhelmed. I'm sure you don't like being overwhelmed. But when I can have some actionable steps to do to improve myself, then it's palatable. Then I feel like I'm making progress. And I want the same for you. I also want to say high five to you. I admire you for doing this work. This work is hard work to do. It's not easy, but I found that this is how peace, and this is where peace can begin in your life. If this resonated with you, stick around. We will be evolving. We'll be building ourselves up, and we'll be a better example to those around us, if that's your desire. And it might not be. Maybe you are solely doing this for your healing. But whether you know it or not, others will notice, and it might cause them to want to ask you about how you navigated through something, ask you about how you grew, and hopefully as you go on, you will be able to be an example, and you will be able to impart something to someone that maybe you otherwise wouldn't have. So I just want to give you a high five. I encourage you to stick around. We're going to continue unpacking the path to a happier, healthier us. And I'm so glad that you're along for this journey. And it really means a lot. So thank you so much for watching. If you have not already, please consider subscribing to the channel. Give this video a thumbs up. Comment too if you're going to take a look this week at yourself and note down any of those moments. Also too, capture those qualities that we talked about, the ones that are that you want to stick around, and you can jot those down in your journal. In the description box, we do have journal prompts that are available for you for free. And just continue on with this playlist. I did a video on the actual playlist that we have on the channel right now, so feel free to continue on in the Gentle Reset series, but you can go to the playlist tab and check out any other playlists as well. So leave a comment. I'm looking forward to shouting out more of you as we do at this point in the video with our comment shout outs. I'm going to let some of those comments build up so that I can go through them in subsequent videos. Thank you so much for watching. Check out one of these videos. One of them is going to be for you, and then one of them will be the next video or another video in the Gentle Reset series. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Not only cats, my call me friend.